Our story begins in the guild office, where Guildmaster Lucius Neek sternly informs Laurent Gill that he is being fired from the Golden Hawk. Laurent, shocked and distressed, struggles to accept the harsh decision. Nearby, a woman with long light hair stands silently behind the desk, observing the tense moment. Laurent Gill leans forward on the desk, his frustration clear as he accuses the woman with long light hair of exploiting his skills, calm and slightly dismissive. She listens quietly behind the desk as he demands an explanation for his sudden firing from the guild. The tension in the room is palpable as their confrontation unfolds. Lucius Neek calmly explains how individuals select their professions based on their skills, emphasizing the guild's growth and structure. The young man with dark messy hair, holding a sword, listens intently while the woman with long light hair focuses on her alchemy work nearby. The atmosphere is serious yet controlled within the guild hall. The young man with dark messy hair stands close to Lucius Neek, both smiling warmly, their camaraderie evident. Nearby, the woman with long light hair shares in the moment, her expression bright and happy. This scene reflects the strong friendship and mutual respect between Lucius and the young man, highlighting their shared journey and growing skills. The young man with dark messy hair stands solemnly, his expression serious and reflective. Nearby, Lucius Neek smiles calmly, while the woman with long light hair turns her back, maintaining a neutral stance. The young man kneels quietly, lost in thought about his efforts to support Lucius and his lingering sense of being just an ordinary guild member. The man with medium dark hair, cloak, stands firmly, confronting Laurent Gill with a sharp question about his true intentions. Laurent Gill, defensive but resolute, argues back, insisting on the value of his efforts and the work he has done for the guild. Tension crackles in the air as their heated exchange unfolds in the guild office. Lucius Neek commands Diane to read aloud Laurent Gill's guild performance record. Diane calmly complies, presenting the data with a slight smile. Laurent reacts defensively, clearly frustrated by the unfavorable report. Lucius Neek calmly orders Diane to read Laurent Gill's record aloud as he firmly tells Laurent to accept his payment and leave the guild for its own good. Laurent listens seriously, his expression a mix of resignation and resolve. Diane stands attentively behind the desk, ready to comply with the command. Lucius Neek mockingly hands Laurent Gill a bag of money, telling him to leave the guild for its own good. Laurent, eyes shadowed with anger, storms out determined not to forget this betrayal. Diane watches silently from behind the desk as the tense farewell unfolds. The young man walks away in frustration, questioning why he was suddenly dismissed from the guild. Nearby, the woman with long light hair stands quietly under the starry sky, lost in somber reflection. Meanwhile, the armored man explains to the young man that they ran out of potions and discusses how their roles were grouped for the quest, highlighting the challenges they faced. The man with medium dark hair, cloak, angrily shouts that useless people have no place in the Golden Hawk Guild. The young man with dark messy hair, wearing a jacket and scarf, glares down with fierce determination, vowing he will never forgive this and promising to defeat his opponent. The tension between them crackles in the cold stone hall. The young man with dark messy hair stands near the exit, calling out urgently, "Wait for me, Lucius!" Meanwhile, Lucius, with his arm raised, seems caught off guard as he turns toward the voice. The tension lingers in the air outside the building's large windows. The young man with dark messy hair places both hands firmly on the door, his determination shining brightly as he vows to start anew and rise to the top as an adventurer. Sparkles around his hands emphasize his resolute spirit, despite the setback. His resolve to prove himself remains unshaken. The young man with dark messy hair stands confidently, gripping his sword with determination. Beside him, the woman with long light hair and a witch's hat smiles knowingly against a shimmering starry backdrop. Their poised expressions hint at a shared resolve in the face of unfolding challenges. The man with medium dark hair raises his arm confidently, a smile of assured command on his face. Beside him, the woman with long light hair calmly holds her sword, her gaze steady and focused to the left. Together, they stand against a dark, indistinct backdrop, poised for what comes next. The young man with dark messy hair approaches the guild desk, nervously hopeful as he asks the woman with long light hair if there is any work available for an appraiser. The woman, standing behind the counter, responds calmly, signaling him to proceed next. Nearby, the man with medium dark hair and cloak watches the exchange with an amused smile. Laurent the appraiser pleads at the guild counter, asking the woman with long light hair if there is any work available. She responds firmly that no jobs or quests suit him now. Nearby, the woman in the sailor-style uniform remarks on how impossible it is for Laurent to make a living after being kicked out. The woman with long light hair warmly welcomes Laurent Gill, telling him they have been waiting for him. Laurent's face shows a mix of sadness and disappointment as he listens to her words. Nearby, The young man with dark messy hair and a ponytail stands quietly, lost in thought. The young man with dark messy hair looks weary, rubbing his sore feet as he stands on the cobblestone street. Suddenly, the man with medium dark hair wearing a casual shirt confronts him angrily, shouting and demanding to know what he wants after bumping into him. Tension rises between the two as the night settles around them. The young man with dark messy hair sits alone on a bench, deep in thought under the open sky. Nearby, the man with medium dark hair warns a light-haired man that nothing good will come from associating with someone bearing that kind of face. The light-haired man calmly tells him to leave the young man alone, standing firm in his defense. The young man with dark messy hair sits on a bench, his head bowed low and hands bound, overwhelmed by exhaustion and despair. Behind him, the man with medium dark hair stands silently, his back turned as he raises a hand in a somber gesture. The weight of hopelessness hangs heavy in the dimly lit room. Lillian Lausier, dressed in her witch hat and cape, looks on with concern as she asks if Mr. Laurent is all right. The scene takes place outdoors near a bench surrounded by trees, capturing a moment of care and worry for the young man. The woman with the witch hat expresses gratitude for the young man's help, her smile turning serious as she asks about his condition. The young man calmly congratulates her on her improved magic skill. Their conversation filled with mutual respect and concern. The quiet wooden room frames this moment of connection between them. The young man with the dark messy hair, ponytail, grabs Miss Lillian by the arm, his concern evident as he asks if she is okay. Miss Lillian, shocked and worried, quickly apologizes, assuring him she is fine and sorry for causing any worry. The tension between them lingers as they process the recent unsettling events. The young man with dark messy hair admits his uncertainty about how his skill developed, seeking clarity. The woman with long light hair and a witch hat responds calmly, acknowledging his limitations but commending his valuable contributions through skill appraisal. Their conversation deepens, reflecting on his suitability for battle despite the challenges. The woman with long light hair, wearing her witch hat and cape, voices her confusion and sadness over being cast out and questions Lucius's true intentions. The young man with dark messy hair, standing opposite her with hands raised in a calming gesture, encourages her not to lose hope and reassures her gently. Their conversation carries a mix of doubt and support, filling the room with a tense yet hopeful atmosphere. The woman with the witch hat enthusiastically proposes to Laurent the idea of founding a new guild, specifically focused on alchemy. Laurent reacts with visible surprise at her suggestion, caught off guard by the sudden proposal. The scene takes place at an outdoor cafe under a rainy sky, adding a reflective mood to their conversation. The woman with long light hair, dressed in her witch hat and cape, speaks confidently about the soaring demand for earthcraft. She emphasizes the importance of establishing a guild independent from the powerful Golden Hawk to truly thrive. Raising her hand with a spark of magical energy, she passionately advocates for forging a new path through an alchemy guild. The woman with long light hair firmly holds Mr. Laurent's wrist, her expression confident as she encourages him. She assures him that with his unique ability to discover and train alchemists, he can build a new guild and surpass even the influential Golden Hawk. Her words inspire hope and determination in the midst of their uncertain future. The woman with long light hair urges the young man to build a guild surpassing Golden Hawk, her determination clear. Meanwhile, the young man contemplates his doubts, questioning whether he truly has what it takes to succeed. The weight of responsibility and hope hangs between them in the quiet room. The young man with the dark messy hair, ponytail, and scarf speaks with firm determination to Miss Lillian, declaring his resolve to create a new guild that stands apart from all others. Miss Lillian listens attentively, the cityscape stretching behind them as their conversation about a fresh start continues. The woman with long light hair, wearing a witch hat and cape, smiles confidently as she expresses her certainty that her companion will agree with her plan. She then calls over a waiter, ordering a celebratory meal to mark this new beginning. The scene is set on an outdoor terrace under an umbrella, bathed in the calm of evening. The woman with long light hair confidently grabs the young man's hand, urging him to move forward. She insists they should create the guild and finish it today. The young man smiles politely, thanking her and promising that next time, the treat will be on him. Miss Lillian confidently announces that the new guild will officially open tomorrow. Laurent, surprised and a bit worried, asks her to wait for a moment, addressing her respectfully. The bustling medieval town street sets the stage for their important conversation about the future. Our story continues as the Alchemy Guild receives official approval. The woman with the witch hat encourages the young man with the scarf to work hard together from now on. While the suited official behind the desk formally approves their application, grateful and determined, the young man thanks the official, ready to embark on this new journey. The young man with the dark messy hair and ponytail firmly shakes hands with the confident woman wearing a witch hat and cape, sealing their agreement. She proposes making Spirit Arsenal the best alchemy guild, and he eagerly agrees to the ambitious plan. Together, they stand united in front of the large double doors, ready to open the new guild. The young man with dark messy hair talks earnestly about the need to hire refiners, a workshop manager, and silversmiths to build the guild's foundation. The woman with long light hair, wearing a witch hat and cape, winks confidently and assures him, "Don't worry, leave it to me." Their shared determination to create a strong guild shines through as they stand together in the bustling town square. The young man with dark messy hair, clearly exhausted, leans back in his chair, rubbing his temples as he reflects on the many applicants who came thanks to Lillian's recommendation. Yet none have proven suitable. Frustrated but resolute, he folds his hands and calls out, "Next, please," determined to find the right members for his new guild. The man with medium dark hair, cloak, smiles confidently as he remarks on the surprising challenge of finding talented and suitable applicants. The young man with dark messy hair, wearing a jacket and scarf, visibly frustrated, responds with an apology. Overwhelmed, he shouts, "Damn it!" in exasperation, reflecting the difficulties in assembling the right team for the guild. Ari, a determined woman with long hair and a serious expression, introduces herself as a silversmith applicant and pleads for a chance to prove her talent. The young man with dark messy hair listens intently, recognizing the need for a skilled silversmith in the guild. After considering her, he agrees to proceed, signaling the start of her evaluation. The woman with long light hair, wearing a cape and blouse, listens intently as her exceptional talent in or refining and silver crafting is acknowledged. Her serious expression reflects the weight of this recognition in the ongoing guild establishment process. This moment underscores her valuable skills as the team moves forward. The young man with dark messy hair, wearing a jacket and scarf, thoughtfully questions Miss Ari about her experience as a silversmith. She nervously explains her previous work in silver crafting, prompting him to suggest she might also consider a role as a refiner. Their conversation continues as they explore the best fit for her skills within the guild. The young man with dark messy hair confidently explains the urgent need for skilled refiners to the woman with long light hair, who initially questions the term but quickly shows determination. She then bows deeply, pledging to take on any role if hired. Their exchange highlights the growing effort to build a capable team for the guild's success. The young man with the dark messy hair politely asks Miss Ari if she has any questions about her application. She nervously replies that she has none but worries about failing again. After thanking her for coming, the woman with long light hair bows respectfully and leaves the room. The woman in the sailor-style uniform receives a sealed letter, her expression curious and slightly anxious as she wonders who could have sent it. Meanwhile, the young man with the dark messy hair stands with arms crossed, eyes closed, lost in thought about past failures and the fading hope tied to Spirit Arsenal. The quiet tension hints at challenges yet to come for both. The woman with light hair, wearing a blouse and gloves, reflects quietly on her past struggles and setbacks. Despite moments when she thought about giving up, a hopeful smile crosses her face as she clings to the possibility of being accepted by the guild. Her determination shines through, revealing a resilient spirit ready to face whatever comes next. The woman with light hair, now confident and determined, declares that she can continue working in a workshop. She then calls out loudly, "Excuse me," to get someone's attention amidst the urban surroundings. The young man with the ponytail warmly welcomes Ari as the sole new hire and offers to show her around the workshop. Ari, curious and slightly surprised, asks if others have been hired as well. The atmosphere is one of cautious optimism as she steps into this new opportunity. The young man with dark messy hair scolds Ari sharply, expressing frustration over her wasting valuable ores. Feeling remorseful, Ari bows deeply and apologizes sincerely, worried about disappointing her new boss despite just being hired as a refiner. The tension between them highlights the high stakes and pressure in their workshop environment. The young man with dark messy hair smiles confidently as he gestures toward the workspace, explaining where the woman with long light hair will be working. She looks nervous and hesitant, denying that anything is wrong when asked. Despite her unease, he reassures her, helping to ease her worries about starting her new role. The young man with dark messy hair confidently explains the workshop tools to the woman with long light hair, asking if she knows the basic refining methods. She nervously admits that she only knows the most basic techniques. Their conversation takes place in a workshop filled with a furnace and various tools, marking the start of her new journey. The woman with long light hair kneels with focused determination as she ignites the fire inside the furnace, carefully holding a wrapped bundle in her gloved hand. She watches the flames begin to burn, fully committed to continuing her work in the workshop. This marks the start of her hands-on training in refining. The woman with long light hair carefully adjusts the heat with her glowing hands, trying to control the temperature as she refines the iron. Suddenly, her expression shifts to worry as she realizes the iron might be burning. "Ah! Oh no!" she exclaims, concerned about the outcome of her work. The woman with long light hair, clad in a fitted top and shorts, grips a hammer tightly as she sits near the anvil, her face marked by worry and frustration. She struggles with the refining process, doubting her skills as the iron's condition seems to worsen under her hands. Despite her determination, she questions if she is truly suited to be a refiner. The woman with long light hair, wearing fitted top and shorts, sits on a stool with a hammer raised, determinedly declaring, "At least, I can do my best." She then apologizes sincerely, reflecting on how burning 9 blocks of rank E iron only yielded 1 block of rank D iron. Despite the setback, her resolve to improve shines through. The young man with dark messy hair smiles warmly, reassuring Ari that she did very well and has great talent, despite her worried, anxious expression and thoughts about possibly being fired. His encouragement offers her a glimmer of hope. The workshop around them remains quiet, filled with barrels and crates. The young man with the ponytail praises the woman with long light hair for quickly producing her first block of rank D iron. Expressing how glad he is to have her on the team, she responds with hesitant determination, promising to keep working at this pace. He kindly offers to take care of the chores so she can focus fully on honing her skills, while she nervously reminds him he is the guildmaster and worries about the workload. The woman with long light hair focuses intently on the refining process at the furnace, determined to improve her skills. The young man with dark messy hair, wearing a jacket and scarf, smiles confidently and offers his help, asking if she needs anything else. A concerned woman in a sailor-style uniform watches from behind, adding to the supportive atmosphere in the workshop. The woman with long light hair exhales deeply, a visible breath in the cold air as she reflects on her journey. Despite earlier doubts, she now feels like a true professional, proud of the progress she's made refining iron. Her confident smile shows determination to keep improving. The woman with long light hair grips a large hammer firmly and strikes the iron with focused determination, sparks flying from the impact. The young man with dark messy hair watches her closely, smiling approvingly at her progress. His praise encourages her as she hammers away, steadily refining the iron. The woman with long light hair, wearing fitted top and shorts and black gloves, proudly holds up a newly forged block of C-rank iron. She calls out to the young man with dark messy hair, ponytail and scarf, urging him to come see her progress. Filled with determination and joy, she runs eagerly to show Mr. Laurent the impressive result of her hard work. The woman with long light hair beams proudly as she holds up a freshly forged block of rank C iron. The young man with dark messy hair, standing nearby with a serious expression, acknowledges her progress but reminds her that the work must meet even higher standards. Their exchange reflects both encouragement and the pressure to improve further. The woman with long light hair admits the task of refining rank A metals seems impossible, her worry evident. The young man with dark messy hair calmly encourages her, inviting her to the workshop to continue the work. She agrees hesitantly, ready to face the challenge ahead. The young man with dark messy hair apologizes sincerely for pressuring the woman with long light hair, urging her to keep improving her or refining skills toward rank A. She listens intently, focused and determined as she works near the furnace, absorbing his encouragement. His serious expression shows he truly believes in her potential despite the tough expectations. The young man with dark messy hair looks serious and supportive as he tells the woman with long light hair that he believes in her talent and determination, promising to watch over her. She sits on a stool, holding a glowing, swirling magical energy in her hands, focused and hopeful. Their exchange deepens the bond of trust and encouragement between them. The woman with long light hair contemplates quietly, admitting she feels calm with Mr. Laurent nearby, yet beneath that calm, a deep unease stirs. She fears the day he might leave her. Her eyes reveal the vulnerability she tries to hide. The woman with long light hair grips her hammer firmly, her eyes filled with determination as she vows to succeed and not lose the young man with the dark messy hair who stands quietly behind her. Offering steady support, she speaks with resolve, expressing how much she wants to prove herself and remain by his side. The workshop's quiet atmosphere underscores the weight of her promise. The determined woman with long light hair raises her hammer, striking the iron block with fierce resolve. She is fully committed to refining every piece into rank A metal, pushing her skills to new heights. The sparkling black background highlights her focused determination and unwavering ambition. The woman with long light hair grips her hammer tightly, striking the iron with fierce determination. Her focused gaze shifts to the hearth fire, where she spends long hours refining the metal. Despite the frustration of wasted ore, she remains resolute in her effort to improve the iron's quality. Ari proudly presents the refined block of Ranka iron to Mr. Laurent, her eyes shining with happy tears. Mr. Laurent smiles warmly, responding to her with calm reassurance. Their shared moment reflects the progress and trust built through their efforts. The young man with dark messy hair, smiling warmly, praises Ari for her hard work, telling her that he merely provided the space for her talent to awaken. Ari, surprised and happy, listens intently as he encourages her progress in refining the metals. The atmosphere is supportive and filled with quiet pride. The woman with long light hair, tears of joy streaming down her face, passionately responds, "Of course!" The young man with dark messy hair, wearing a scarf, smiles gently as he praises her hard work and confirms that the refiner position is now secured. Their heartfelt exchange takes place outside the guild building under a clear sky, marking a moment of achievement and hope. Our story continues with the young man with dark messy hair and a ponytail standing confidently, hands on hips, as he surveys a warehouse filled with neatly stacked crates. He reflects on the increased production, finding encouragement in the visible progress despite lingering worries. His determined smile shows hope for the future ahead. Lillian Lausier greets Laurent Gil politely, apologizing for the interruption as she waves her hand with a warm smile. Laurent, holding a large sack, responds kindly, offering to make tea and asking her to wait a moment. Lillian reassures him not to trouble himself, maintaining a friendly atmosphere in the quiet room. The woman with light hair and a sailor-style uniform urgently calls out to Miss Lillian. Seeking her attention, Mr. Laurent stands nearby, introducing Ari, the refiner, who holds a wooden box and looks surprised. The atmosphere is tense as the urgent request interrupts their interaction. Miss Lillian admires the finely crafted item and asks if the woman with long light hair made it herself. Modestly, the woman confirms she completed the work following the guild master's instructions. The scene reflects quiet pride amid the stacked crates, symbolizing their growing success. Miss Ari confidently promises to deliver the best results as she announces their next dungeon conquest. Her determined smile reflects her readiness for the challenges ahead. The woman with long light hair, dressed in a witch hat and cape, smiles confidently and says, "Sure." Laurent Gil reassures her that with this approval, Ari will gain more confidence. Ari, standing nearby with a relieved smile, admits she was worried when asked to come over. Miss Lillian warmly praises Laurent for his hard work, gently patting his head as she acknowledges his efforts. Laurent responds modestly, downplaying his role despite the praise. As she prepares to leave, Miss Lillian promises to share the results of the next dungeon conquest, parting with a confident smile. A man with light hair, dressed in a dark uniform, stands firmly in the doorway and commands the group to line up with authority. Another man nearby announces loudly, "Lady Jill is back." The assembled men in uniform respond attentively, preparing for what lies ahead in the Golden Hawks Guildhall. Lady Jill strides forward confidently, her serious expression commanding attention as the man with medium dark hair smirks behind her, and a stern armored man stands watchfully nearby. The atmosphere is tense, hinting at an important moment unfolding. The woman with long light hair, wearing fitted top and shorts and a cape, strides forward confidently, reflecting on how the guildmaster's strict rule has shaped her resolve. She acknowledges that her current position and abilities were only possible with the help of the young man with dark messy hair and a ponytail. Standing silently with his back turned, nearby, 5 men in uniform stand lined up, awaiting orders. The young man with dark messy hair encourages the woman in armor, telling her she has the potential to become an armor knight. She hesitates, worried about her stamina to bear the heavy armor, but he reassures her they can train to build it up. With determination, she agrees to start the training. The woman with long light hair pushes herself through rigorous stamina and muscle training, sweat dripping down her face as she recalls the intensity of past sessions. She swings her shield with determination, honing both offense and defense, before leaning on it. Exhausted but resolute, nearby, the young man with dark messy hair watches with a steady, neutral gaze, hands firmly on his hips, overseeing the demanding training. Jill stands confidently in the training grounds, holding a large shield with a determined smile. Laurent praises her for clearing the quota. Acknowledging her progress, Jill thanks him, saying she can now be a good tank. But Laurent reminds her that she's meant to be a DPS armor knight. The young man with dark messy hair confidently encourages the determined woman holding a shield, assuring her that she can definitely do it. Despite her worried expression and doubts, she hesitantly accepts his outstretched hand. Together, they prepare to move forward under the cloudy sky amidst stone pillars. The young man with dark messy hair calmly opens a door, inviting the surprised woman with long light hair to follow him. She questions why she's been brought to the armory reserved for high-ranking members, clearly intrigued by the secretive location. The young man confidently explains to the woman that the weapon displayed was specially crafted just for her. She gazes thoughtfully at it, quietly questioning whether she truly deserves such a rank and honor. The room's quiet intensity underscores the weight of this moment. The young man with dark messy hair smiles confidently as he tells the armored woman that he's sure she can definitely become a first-class armor knight, inspired by his faith in her. She grips her sword with a determined expression, ready to prove herself. The resolve to rise to the challenge shines clearly in her eyes. The man with medium dark hair, cloaked and commanding, orders the group to be ready to defeat the golem. The young man with dark messy hair urgently warns the determined woman wielding a sword and the focused woman holding a staff that enemies are approaching fast. Both women prepare themselves, gripping their weapons tightly as tension rises in the dungeon's rocky interior. A massive stone golem looms fiercely in a dark underground cavern, its jagged features and glowing eyes radiating anger and menace. This formidable creature stands as a daunting obstacle in the shadowy depths. The large humanoid rock golem, its cracked stone body tense with aggression, hurls a massive boulder forward with tremendous force, signaling the start of a fierce confrontation. The woman with long light hair, clad in armor and cape, fiercely commands a retreat while charging forward to strike the massive stone golem hurling a boulder at her. Her determined expression shows she's ready to face this powerful enemy head-on despite the danger. The rocky terrain around them sets the stage for this intense confrontation. The woman with long light hair, clad in fitted armor and a cape, fiercely swings her sword down with powerful determination. Her intense expressions capture her unwavering resolve as she trains or fights on the rocky terrain. This moment highlights her strength and focus in mastering her blade. The woman with long light hair, clad in armor and cape, swings her sword downward with fierce determination, carving a wide arc through the rocky mountainous terrain. Her focused expression reveals unwavering resolve as she continues to hone her combat skills. The young man with dark messy hair, clearly relieved and happy, raises his arm in celebration alongside the woman with light hair in a witch hat and cape. Both surprised but joyful after their victory, nearby, the woman in armor and cape smiles confidently, standing next to the man with medium dark hair and a cloak, who watches with a calm expression. The group shares a moment of triumph, reflecting on their unexpected success against the golems. The man with medium dark hair behind the desk questions the woman with long light hair about whether she can handle more difficult quests. Noting her recent training, she responds firmly that despite defeating 3 golems, she still needs more practice. As she speaks, she reflects on the new trial Loran designed, which requires defeating 5 golems to prove her strength. The woman with long light hair expresses her gratitude to Mr. Loran, vowing not to remain just an ordinary archer. Standing determined, she walks purposefully toward a large wooden door, ready to face whatever lies ahead. Nearby, the woman in the hooded outfit watches thoughtfully, sharing the moment of resolve. The woman with long light hair bursts through the door, her face bright with excitement as she calls out, "Emmer, Loran, I'm back." The young man with dark messy hair, seen from behind, acknowledges her return, relieved to finally see her after so long. She eagerly wants to share everything and catch up on all that has happened. Mr. Loran kneels apologetically before Lady Jill, who looks at him with concern and questions if this is truly Lauren's room. She informs him that Loran has been banished from the guild, while urging him not to worry about her, despite his tired appearance. Mr. Loran politely asks Lady Jill to excuse him. The woman with long light hair, clad in fitted armor and a cape, pleads with determination, questioning the harshness of a banishment. Suddenly, surprise flickers across her face as she processes the situation. With renewed resolve, she bursts through a large doorway, calling out urgently for the guild master with arms wide open. Jill confronts the man behind the desk, demanding an explanation for why Mr. Loran was kicked out. The man, calm and composed, questions her insistence, while the woman standing beside him clarifies that Loran has now become a close ally of a sorceress from the magic tree. Jill remains firm, insisting there must be a misunderstanding about Loran's situation. The man with medium dark hair explains seriously how 2 people became close and loyal during their shared quest. The woman with long light hair, standing behind the desk, listens with concern, while the same woman in front of the large wooden door expresses shock and disbelief over someone forgetting past favors and yielding to a rival guild. The tense conversation reveals deep feelings of betrayal and loyalty. Jill dashes forward with fierce determination, refusing to be held back, despite someone calling out to stop her. She insists on uncovering the truth and saving Laurent. In the background, the woman with long light hair quietly exits through a large wooden door. Our story continues deep inside a rocky dungeon cave where tension rises. The young man with dark messy hair urgently warns the woman with long light hair, clad in a cape and black gloves, about multiple goblins approaching. She commands her group to get ready for battle, while the man with medium dark hair calmly orders a long-range attack to clear the enemies. The woman with long light hair, wearing a cape and holding a staff, urgently commands the young man with dark messy hair, cloaked and focused, to shoot, responding instantly. He draws his bow and releases a precise arrow into the fray. The tension of the battle is palpable as they coordinate their attack. The man with medium dark hair smiles confidently as he asks Marco if he can handle the next task. Marco, standing in uniform and saluting, responds with determination, assuring him to leave it to him. The atmosphere is tense but focused, with stone walls and a window framing their exchange. The woman with long light hair confidently urges the group to march forward, praising their strong warriors and up-to-date gear. The young man with dark messy hair and the man with medium dark hair stand ready beside her, while a large armored figure watches silently behind them in the cave. Their determined expressions show they are prepared for the challenges ahead. Marco stands confidently, striking a commanding pose with his hand raised to his forehead, surrounded by an elegant display of roses and feathers. His expression radiates pride and assurance as he embodies the lethal weapon and intelligent leader of Golden Hawk. Suddenly, he breaks into a run, urgently shouting, "Captain!" as he rushes forward. The young man with light hair announces that the scouts have reached the deepest part of the dungeon, urging his group to hurry. Behind him, 3 figures in dark outfits follow closely, ready for action. The woman with long light hair listens thoughtfully, realizing the gravity of their position underground. The young man with dark messy hair looks shocked as he addresses the man with medium dark hair, who stands firmly and points decisively. The man commands him to investigate the other side, urging swift action amid the tense atmosphere. The man with medium dark hair in a cloak instructs the young man with light hair to take a break while he devises a plan. The young man stands at attention and salutes in response, showing respect and readiness. They remain in the eerie underground cave surrounded by skeletons and coffins, preparing for what comes next. The group sits exhausted against the cave wall, their armor worn and faces marked by fatigue. One of the young men bites his finger in frustration, reflecting the dire situation. They lack enough earthcraft to face many enemies. The weight of their struggle is clear as they catch their breath in the dim dungeon depths. The woman with long light hair angrily points at the young man with light hair, shouting, "You're fired!" as he nervously bites his finger, overwhelmed by the pressure. Despite his attempt to report, she dismisses him with a sharp, "Tell me later," and turns away, leaving him tense and uncertain in the rocky cave. Meanwhile, another young man stands nearby, seriously reporting to the woman. The man with medium dark hair and cloak urgently orders a retreat, declaring the mission impossible and commanding the young man with dark messy hair to bring the gathered information back to the guild. The young man reacts with surprise and confusion, caught off guard by the sudden withdrawal. The tense atmosphere in the cave underscores the gravity of their situation. The man with medium dark hair, cloaked and furious, angrily points his finger while shouting at the young man with light hair pressed against the cave wall. Despite the young man's calm suggestion to try once more, the older man vehemently objects, warning about the severe risks and heavy losses they have already endured. Tension mounts as their disagreement over the battle strategy becomes clear in the rocky dungeon setting. The young man with light hair nervously reveals that there is another force present. Hesitating as he speaks, the man with medium dark hair, cloaked and furious, grabs him by the collar and demands to know who it is, accusing him of not reporting it sooner. Tension escalates sharply in the rocky underground as the man demands answers. Lillian stands resolute at the center, her witch hat and staff marking her as the leader of the Magic Tree's main guardians. To her left, a serious woman holds a large shield in a defensive stance, while nearby, 2 young men with dark messy hair prepare for battle. One sitting confidently with a large sword, the other alert and ready with a bow and arrow. The group is poised in a rocky underground setting, ready to face whatever lies ahead. The young man with dark messy hair nervously swallows before speaking, but soon breaks into a confident laugh, masking his unease. The man with medium dark hair, cloak, stands firmly, declaring that the current situation favors them and victory is within reach. Suddenly, he pushes the younger man, retracting his earlier doubts with renewed determination. The young man with dark messy hair, wielding his sword with fierce determination, strikes aggressively at the towering skeleton warrior in the dim dungeon cave. The clash of steel against bone echoes as the battle intensifies. Shadows flicker around them, emphasizing the relentless fight against the undead foe. The young man with dark messy hair, clad in a jacket and scarf, strikes fiercely at the glowing skeleton warrior with his sword. His focused determination is clear as he battles the imposing undead foe on the cracked battlefield. Despite the intensity of the fight, a hint of worry sweats across his face, revealing the high stakes of this confrontation. The young man with dark messy hair, gripping his sword tightly, declares determinedly, "I'll cover you," as he prepares to face the looming large humanoid skeleton warrior. His focused expression reveals his resolve to protect his companion in the midst of the rocky battlefield. The young man urgently tells the captain they need to hurry as the lower guild begins their attack. The man with medium dark hair confidently announces this development. Smiling as he stands firm, nearby, a large skeleton warrior grips a damaged weapon, while the young man instructs to carefully observe the enemy's weakened arms. A close-up of the young man's eye reveals his sharp realization of the situation. The man with medium dark hair, cloaked and commanding, orders the young man with the dark messy hair to prepare for battle, stressing the critical need to stop the enemy from repairing their weapons. The young man, sword in hand and flanked by his allies, responds firmly that they have been waiting for this moment and are ready to engage. Nearby, a focused woman with long light hair watches the exchange, the tension in the cave palpable as the group steels themselves for the fight ahead. The young man with light hair asks the woman with the witch hat when they will strike. The man with medium dark hair calmly replies, "Of course." The woman, casting magic with determination, commands that their attack will come after the fireworks. The young man with dark messy hair watches intently as the large armored figure floats ominously, surrounded by glowing magical circles. The woman with long light hair, wearing a witch hat and cape, casts a powerful spell toward the threatening presence. Tension rises as the enemy force draws near, and the battle is about to escalate. The woman with long light hair, dressed in a witch hat and cape, unleashes a powerful lightning spell that strikes the large armored figure hovering above. This intense magical attack aims to halt the enemy's attempt to repair its weapon. The battlefield crackles with energy as the spell hits its target. The young man with dark messy hair commands the man with medium dark hair, Mr. Lucius, to claim victory in the dungeon conquest. Mr. Lucius, standing with a serious expression, notes that the woman with the witch hat cannot sustain her magic for long. The tension rises as they prepare to seize the moment before their enemy recovers. The young man with the dark messy hair stands confidently with his sword held behind his back, glancing over his shoulder with a determined smile. In front, the man in the cloak holds a large shield calmly, prepared for what lies ahead. Meanwhile, the woman with long light hair stands alert in the background, bow in hand, ready to support the team in the cavernous dungeon. Tension erupts as the young man with dark messy hair angrily points and shouts about an earth craft. While another of his group looks on nervously, the frustration boils over when he grabs a comrade by the collar, demanding answers. Meanwhile, 3 determined figures charge down a rocky slope, urging haste to defend the dungeon. The woman in the witch hat, Miss Lillian, confidently casts a powerful spell, magical circles glowing behind her as she targets the armored figure. Nearby, another woman with long light hair and a sleeveless dress smiles warmly, praising Miss Lillian's magic and suggesting they can take a break. Despite the praise, Miss Lillian remains determined, insisting the battle is far from over. The woman with long light hair, wearing a witch hat and cape, stands resolute as she casts a powerful magical attack with her staff, declaring she will deliver her final blow. Magic circles glow fiercely behind her, intensifying the strike aimed at the large armored figure. Her determined shout echoes through the battlefield, signaling a decisive moment in the fight. The woman in the witch hat, serious but slightly worried, announces that although only a few enemies remained, the area is now completely cleared. Below her, another woman calls out urgently, "Miss Lillian." Meanwhile, the young man with dark messy hair shouts intensely, rallying the group with determination. The woman with the witch hat smiles with relief, softly saying, "Laurent, we did it." Meanwhile, the young man with dark messy hair kneels exhausted on the ground but raises a skull-like object triumphantly. Their battle is finally over, and they prepare to deliver this important trophy. Our story continues as tension fills the meeting room. The man with medium dark hair calmly reports the situation, declaring, "That's all for my report." Meanwhile, the young man with dark messy hair defensively questions and blames the enemy's acquisition of the Earthcraft, shouting for the other to shut up amid their heated exchange. The woman with long light hair angrily shouts at the young man with dark messy hair, berating him as an elite member. The young man, calm but firm, commands that the offender be demoted and asks the woman behind the desk if there is a suitable replacement. Mentioning Jill specifically, the tension in the room is palpable as they discuss the consequences of failure and the next steps. The man with medium dark hair slams his fist on the desk in frustration, shouting, "Damn it!" as he commands the summoning of guild representatives to expose and crush the traitors threatening their control over Earthcraft. The woman with long light hair stands nearby, her serious expression reflecting the gravity of the situation. Tensions rise as they prepare to confront the betrayal within their ranks. The woman with long light hair opens the door, concerned about a loud noise she heard. The young man with dark messy hair reassures her it's nothing serious. Just a cup falling. She insists that it's not fine and urges him to train the 4 new hires properly, offering to help with the situation before the upcoming interview. The young man with dark messy hair acknowledges that Ari was right. The workload is overwhelming and unsustainable without proper workshop management skills. Despite the challenges, he remains determined and hopeful, emphasizing the progress made in developing the spirit arsenal. The man with medium dark hair behind the desk listens seriously, considering the urgent need for better organization. Ling Ryals confidently introduces himself as an applicant for the mineral mining job, showcasing his first-rate skills in mining and polishing. The young man with dark messy hair watches thoughtfully, clearly impressed by Ling's expertise. The scene takes place in a waiting area marked mineral mining, setting the stage for new opportunities. The young man with dark messy hair warmly welcomes the newcomer, expressing relief at having him on board but hints there's a condition to his acceptance. The young man with short light hair confidently replies that he, too, has one condition to propose. The young man with dark messy hair encourages the light-haired young man to take charge of workshop management, promising his full support. The light-haired man listens thoughtfully, surprised as he repeats the word management. The scene conveys a moment of determination and new responsibility between the two. The young man with short light hair nervously admits his lack of confidence and experience in management. The dark-haired young man in the jacket and scarf warmly encourages him, expressing eagerness to work together. They seal their agreement with a firm handshake, marking the start of their cooperation. The young man with dark messy hair confidently explains the workshop management work to the light-haired young man. Introducing a magical accounting book, he demonstrates how writing one's name in the book enables learning the management skills. The light-haired man listens with curiosity and surprise, intrigued by this unusual method. Holding a glowing magical book filled with floating symbols, the young man with short light hair shows it to Mr. Laurent, calm and instructive. Mr. Laurent explains how this enchanted accounting tool ties into mastering the crucial workshop management skill. The atmosphere is serious as they discuss the path to handling the heavy workload ahead. The young man with dark messy hair explains to the young man with short light hair how organizing data carefully can reduce waste and lower workshop costs. The younger listener pays close attention, absorbing the importance of efficient management. The young man with short light hair clenches his fist, shouting with determination, "I'll try my best." Though a side glance reveals a moment of doubt, he quickly reflects on how organizing data to reduce waste and save resources in workshop management suits him well. Nearby, the dark-haired man watches with a calm, encouraging smile, confident in the young man's resolve. The young woman with the witch hat and cape gratefully thanks Mr. Laurent for providing the necessary supplies. She also acknowledges her recent victories in the dungeon conquest and monster defeat rankings, showing her appreciation and determination. The setting suggests they are outside or near a building, with windows and awnings visible behind her. The woman in the witch hat calmly explains to the young man with the ponytail that she has already ordered the necessary gear for the new mine. However, she seems slightly concerned, hinting that something might be amiss. The young man listens intently, asking about the discovery and requesting permission to use the ores. The young man with dark messy hair, wearing a jacket and scarf, explains that the bank refused their loan application but says they could secure 50 million G if their profit ratio improves by 5%. The woman with long light hair and a witch hat looks surprised and asks how much more profit they need and why they don't have enough money. He calmly clarifies the exact profit increase required to obtain the loan. The young man with short light hair, determined and confident, assures the dark-haired man in the jacket that he will overcome the challenges and deliver the gear soon. The dark-haired man, standing nearby, expresses his trust by saying, "I'm counting on you, Mr. Laurent." The young man with short light hair, determined to repay Mr. Laurent, insists he will keep doing his best with the refining work. The young man with dark messy hair, concerned, asks if he's okay, explaining that this month's workload has been especially harsh. Suddenly, the young man with short light hair sits down abruptly, seeming exhausted, while the other thinks he needs to watch over him closely. The young man with dark messy hair, clearly frustrated, demands to know when the cleaning will be finished, urging the other to hurry and keep any cracked magical items. The determined young man with short light hair apologizes and acknowledges the urgency, mentally resolving to increase the profit ratio by 5% and push even harder. The tension in the workshop is palpable as they strive to meet their demanding goals. A large magical golem has gone berserk, causing chaos in the workshop. The young man with dark messy hair urgently orders to stop all work and to fetch water for the badly burnt man lying on the floor. Mr. Ling, looking worried and serious, responds with frustration as the situation spirals out of control. Ling bows deeply, apologizing to Mr. Loran for the mistakes made. Mr. Loran, with a serious and concerned expression, urges caution and emphasizes the need to hurry but reassures Ling that reaching the 5% profit increase goal isn't mandatory right now. The atmosphere is tense yet focused on safety and productivity at the workshop. Mr. Loran offers a reassuring fist bump to the young man with light hair, urging him to be patient and believe in himself. The young man, serious and attentive, suddenly turns with urgency, exclaiming that he has something important to say. The moment crackles with determination and hope. The young man with light hair clenches his determination, vowing not to make mistakes this time. He reassures the concerned young woman nearby that Mr. Ling will be fine. Meanwhile, the serious man in gloves carefully opens the furnace, advising patience and caution in their work. The young man with short light hair sweeps the floor, frustrated by how little time remains. He questions whether all the expenses are truly necessary, showing his concern over the project's cost. Despite this, he continues working diligently, hammering and inspecting barrels to keep progress moving swiftly. The young man with dark messy hair runs forward urgently, shouting as sudden pain or blindness strikes his eyes. Despite the shock, he acknowledges the need to carefully check the tools, showing his determination to understand and resolve the situation. The young man with dark messy hair urgently shouts "Stop!" as he notices floating numbers resembling an account book, warning of the danger from falling objects nearby. His concerned expression underscores the sudden risk in the workshop cluttered with barrels and crates. The young man with short light hair joyfully raises his arms, celebrating the recent rank up in safety management. He urgently reminds the young man with dark messy hair to always wear gloves for protection. Together, they walk and reflect on how Mr. Ling has changed, acknowledging the importance of maintaining safety in their work. The young man with dark messy hair confidently tells the man with medium dark hair that they successfully increased the profit ratio by 5% and can now produce the gear. The man with medium dark hair responds with concern about the risk of failing the mission and wasting the dungeon pass. The young man reassures him by showing the dungeon pass, emphasizing its necessity to enter the dungeon, and expresses his belief that they will succeed. The young man with the ponytail confidently declares he's on his way and asks everyone to await his good news. The woman with long light hair informs him that a guest has arrived, prompting him to respond with surprise. Meanwhile, another young man with short light hair looks excited, sharing the promising news about starting gear production without worrying about or supplies. Diane greets the woman with a warm, "Good day, how do you do?" The woman, serious and contemplative, responds respectfully, addressing her as Miss Diana. Their exchange hints at a formal relationship as they stand indoors by a wooden door. Our story continues in a quiet workshop room where someone sits calmly on a couch, expressing frustration about the barrenness of the workshop. The young man with dark messy hair, wearing a jacket and scarf, responds seriously, questioning her attitude and inquiring about her business there. He then requests tea and mentions needing to speak with Mr. Loran, signaling an important conversation ahead. The woman with long light hair confidently challenges the young man with short light hair, offering him a chance to become a subsidiary of Golden Hawk despite his skeptical and annoyed demeanor. He questions her attitude and asks what business brought such a prestigious member to his doorstep. She casually remarks on the cheapness of his tea, maintaining her composed and slightly arrogant smile. The woman with long light hair sits confidently on the couch, telling Laurent Gill that she's here to kindly save him and acknowledges how tough it must be to run his small workshop. Laurent Gill listens seriously as another young man with light hair angrily shouts, "That's enough!" At him, Laurent Gill calmly replies that he'll consider the offer depending on the conditions presented. The woman with long light hair confidently offers to sell rank iron at 100G each and proposes that the young man with dark messy hair join as a subsidiary. The young man hesitates, responding uncertainly, clearly unsure about accepting the deal. The negotiation takes place in a formal indoor setting, with the woman maintaining a dominant posture as she speaks. The young man confidently offers to buy rank iron for 100 gold each, hoping to strike a deal. The woman reacts with anger and mockery, calling him a fool and insisting she came only to ridicule him. She shouts sharply, questioning if he misunderstood her intentions. The woman with long light hair angrily voices her frustration about selling rank iron for only 100G each, expressing clear disgust toward the sugar mommy and the kept man involved. She turns sharply and walks away, leaving the two young men with light hair standing silently nearby. The tension in the air reflects her strong disdain for the situation. The man with medium dark hair in a cloak calls the young man with dark messy hair, bowing respectfully before him. He asks him to take on an important task concerning his daughter's marriage, and the young man pledges his full support for Count Elson. The man with medium dark hair, cloaked and seated behind his desk, solemnly requests the young man with dark messy hair to prepare silverware for his daughter and invites him to a silverware fair. The young man, standing attentively, inquires if this request is connected to the upcoming marriage. He also mentions hearing about the many skilled alchemists working under the man's influence. The young man with dark messy hair confidently announces his plan to make the silverware fair a recurring event, inviting subsidiary guilds to join a skill-based competition. He proudly displays a crown and trophy, symbolizing the prestigious prizes at stake. His determination to elevate the fair status is clear as he rallies support for the upcoming contest. Laurent Gil confidently raises his fist, assuring Lucius Neek that he will win the championship. Lucius listens calmly, acknowledging Laurent with a steady gaze. The determination in Laurent's expression shows his unwavering resolve to succeed. The man with medium dark hair, cloak, raises his glass confidently, encouraging the young man with dark messy hair to seize the prize money. The young man calmly returns the toast, determined to create the finest silverware and prove his skill. Both share a moment of mutual resolve in the formal room, ready to face the upcoming competition. The young man with the ponytail politely says, "Excuse me," to the receptionist, a woman with short dark hair wearing a vest and blouse. As he waits, he recalls Lillian's comment about this receptionist, reflecting thoughtfully on the quest reception office. The atmosphere is calm but carries a hint of anticipation. The young man with dark messy hair urgently asks the woman in the blouse if anyone with mineral mining skills is available. She looks apologetic and distressed as she replies that no one fitting that skill set can be found. The young man with dark messy hair gently encourages the woman in the blouse and vest to lift her head, asking her to relay his request to those with the specific skills he needs. The woman, looking apologetic and downcast, expresses her gratitude and regret as she bows slightly in response. Their exchange carries a tone of quiet determination and mutual respect. The young man with the ponytail pauses thoughtfully, reflecting on how rare high-rank mineral mining skills are, and feeling the pangs of hunger, deciding to take a break. He enters a tavern and addresses a woman inside, politely saying, "Mr. Laurent?" The woman, holding a tray, looks up attentively as he speaks. The young man with dark messy hair politely asks the man in the formal coat if he may join him. The man in the coat warmly greets him, recognizing him as Mr. Laurent, and recalls their last meeting at the Golden Hawk. They agree to join together, rekindling their acquaintance in the cozy, candlelit room. The older man in the formal coat expresses shock as he questions the young man with dark messy hair about being kicked out of the Golden Hawk and yet becoming an elite member. The young man calmly reassures him that he is doing well now and is comfortable discussing the situation. Their conversation unfolds in a modest indoor setting, hinting at a tense but honest exchange. The young man with short light hair explains to the dark-haired young man how a lord forced refiners to leave by demanding high-priced rank iron and ordered the production of the finest silverware. As he drinks from his mug, he details the harsh conditions surrounding the silverware fair, which is tied to the lord's search for a suitable dowry. The dark-haired young man listens attentively, curious about the challenges ahead. The young man with dark messy hair confidently offers to sell rank iron at 100 G each and requests the loan of 5 skilled employees with mineral mining abilities above B rank. The man with short light hair, dressed formally, reacts with surprise and concern about his business but ultimately agrees to the deal. They both acknowledge the potential benefits of working closely together. The young man with dark messy hair smiles confidently while holding a mug, affirming that he is always ready to help whenever needed. The man with medium dark hair, cloak, looks on calmly and asks if there is a deeper reason behind their cooperation. He then suggests raising another toast to their partnership. The young man steps forward as the small cloaked figure offers him flowers, her voice faint and appearance fragile. Without hesitation, he roughly pushes past her, causing her to stumble and fall to the ground. The tension in the street is palpable as he rejects the unexpected gesture. The woman with long light hair shyly adjusts her hood and smiles warmly as she offers flowers to the young man with dark messy hair. He kindly responds, offering to buy them, but she insists they are a gift of thanks and gives the flowers to him freely. Their gentle exchange deepens their connection in the quiet room. The young man offers to appraise the woman's talent in exchange for the flowers she gave him. She responds thoughtfully, asking if he enjoys his work and requests the appraisal. He wishes her the best results and suggests they begin. The woman with long light hair, holding a basket of flowers, looks at the young man with dark messy hair and asks seriously, "Who is this kid?" The young man reacts with shock, exclaiming, "What?" as tension rises between them. Our story continues as the young woman stands determined by the window, surprising the young man with her unexpectedly high alchemy skill. He wonders how she could have learned such advanced techniques. Nearby, another woman, likely the girl's mother, asks the man if something has happened to her daughter. Showing concern, the young man, thoughtful and puzzled, questions the origins of the girl's talent, reflecting on the rarity of such skill for her race. The woman named Sills questions the young man about his intentions toward her daughter. He confidently explains that he is an appraiser from the Alchemy Guild and has already evaluated her talent in exchange for the flowers she offered. Sills, surprised, wonders if he might be the rare person capable of instantly providing detailed appraisal results. The young man with dark messy hair asks the woman with long light hair where she learned her impressive skill and seeks her advice. Calm and inviting, the woman gestures warmly, inviting him to visit her shop for a proper conversation. He offers to help her in any way he can, eager to build a cooperative relationship. The woman with elf ears calmly explains to the young man with dark messy hair the background of her daughter's impressive alchemy skill, revealing that she once lived in a dwarf's cave due to hostility between their races. The young man listens intently, curious, while the bearded middle-aged man holding a hammer quietly observes the conversation. A fierce war rages between the group of rugged men and the elf-like warriors. Amidst the conflict, a young elf woman has been captured by the dwarfs and is now forced to work on alchemy under their watchful eyes. Nearby, another elf woman sits behind bars, a prisoner resigned to her fate. Sills, holding a cup, gently pats the young elf woman's head as she explains that her daughter fell in love with alchemy despite the detestable skills forced upon them during the war. The young man listens thoughtfully, responding with understanding. Sills then turns to him, earnestly asking for advice on how to handle these burdensome skills. The woman with long light hair angrily questions how Kyle's skill could possibly be considered a treasure, her voice rising in disbelief. The young man with dark messy hair calmly responds, urging her to change her perspective and view the skill as a valuable gift rather than a painful reminder of war. Their tense exchange highlights the clash between hope and harsh reality. The young man with dark messy hair confidently explains to the serious elf woman that despite her troubled past, Miss Kyle's alchemy talent shines brightly and holds the potential to reach S rank. The atmosphere is thoughtful as they continue their important discussion in the quiet wooden room. The young man earnestly urges the woman not to waste such a remarkable talent and promises to take good care of her. Shocked, she exclaims, "S rank?" before quickly calming down and dismissing the idea with a firm, "Don't be silly." The young man with dark messy hair pleads earnestly with Kyle's father Isua, begging him not to block the chance to hire Kyle, emphasizing her rare and precious talent. Isua stands calmly with arms crossed, firmly refusing and addressing the young man as dear, showing his protective stance over his daughter. The tension between them highlights the conflict over Kyle's future and the value of her extraordinary skill. The young elf man with light hair angrily shouts that alchemy is the work of cave dwellers, condemning it fiercely. In response, another elf man with earrings calmly questions how anyone could ask his daughter to engage in the same work as the dwarfs who caused her suffering. He gently places a hand on the young elf woman's shoulder, offering comfort amid the tense conversation. The young man wrestles with frustration, feeling powerless to aid the determined elf woman despite recognizing her rare talent. She pleads passionately, insisting that pursuing her gift is her true desire. His conflicted thoughts linger on whether to give up on nurturing her potential. The young elf woman smiles brightly as she holds up a small round object, symbolizing hope and potential. Meanwhile, the young man stands with his back turned, fists clenched, deep in contemplation over the painful contrast between war scars and the girl's enduring light. Their opposing perspectives on suffering and talent hang heavily in the air. Miss Lillian notices the young man's furrowed brow and asks if he is feeling all right. He admits to being a bit absent-minded but quickly assures her that it's nothing serious. Then, he suggests they begin discussing their business. The young man with dark messy hair asks the young elf woman if they will discuss the weapon order today. She confirms and reveals that it will be a difficult commission, showing him a document detailing the large amount of gear required. Both appear serious and focused as they consider the challenge ahead. The young man asks the woman when the delivery should be made. She replies that it needs to be done in 1 week and hopes he can meet the deadline. Worried, he contemplates whether completing it on time is possible. The woman with the witch hat firmly explains to the young man the critical need to prepare sufficient gear to safeguard their loot and to defeat the Golden Hawk. The young man, determined, responds that he will begin the preparations immediately. Their serious exchange highlights the urgency and gravity of the upcoming challenge. The young man with short light hair greets the young man with dark messy hair, confirming that all 30 new workers have arrived for the large job. The dark-haired man acknowledges the scale of the task, noting the need for so many hands. Around them, the group of workers stands ready, prepared to begin the operation. The young man with light hair firmly assures the young woman with long light hair, "I've got your back." Requesting a few words from her, she smiles warmly, expressing her belief that the girl they speak of can become a great person if given the chance. Despite the hopeful exchange, he reminds himself to focus on the work ahead, knowing there is no time for distractions. Laurent Gil steps forward confidently, introducing himself as the owner of the workshop to the uneasy group of muscular men. The young man with light hair raises his fist in support, assuring Laurent that they've got his back. Laurent smiles reassuringly, telling everyone not to worry despite the sudden, challenging commission ahead. The young man with dark messy hair acknowledges the immense difficulty of the task ahead. The group of 5 muscular men, some wearing bandanas, express their confidence in his ability and cheer him on to get started. Their support fills the room with determination and readiness. The young man with dark messy hair confidently directs the workshop team, assigning the young elf man with a hammer and Mr. Ling to handle the molding work together. He emphasizes teamwork, urging everyone to compensate for each other's efforts and deliver their best performance. The atmosphere is focused and determined as preparations intensify. Laurent Gil confidently addresses the 2 men, gesturing warmly as he speaks. The young man with a headband smiles back. While the other looks surprised by Laurent's words, Laurent places a reassuring hand on the shoulder of the smiling man, solidifying their camaraderie in the bustling workshop. The young man with dark messy hair reflects thoughtfully on how this diverse group, though recently acquainted, is already working together in harmony. Around him, the muscular men stand ready, one holding a sword upright, another gesturing confidently, and a third smiling warmly, each contributing to the cooperative spirit in the workshop. This moment captures the growing unity as they prepare for the difficult task ahead. The young elf woman carefully holds a large sheet or panel, focused on the task at hand. Nearby, a muscular man with a bandana hammers metal on an anvil with determined intensity, while another strong man swings a massive hammer at a large armored figure. The young man with dark messy hair, wearing a jacket and scarf, turns his back briefly before smiling hopefully, offering his help to the hard-working team. The middle-aged man with a beard urgently calls out, asking how many weapons remain and insisting the last batch must be loaded. Nearby, a muscular worker with a headband focuses on loading crates of weapons into a wagon, preparing the final supplies. The atmosphere is tense as they rush to complete the armament for the upcoming challenge. Laurent Gil expresses his gratitude to everyone for their hard work and urges them to hurry as they prepare to depart. The young man with short light hair pulls the reins, signaling the start of their journey to deliver something important to Miss Lilliand. The team moves with determination, ready to face the challenges ahead. The young man with short light hair raises his fist, shouting encouragement to Golden, who stands nearby with a calm expression. The middle-aged man with a beard gestures supportively, urging Golden to do their best. Together, they wish good luck to the No Weapon Guild, standing resolute in the bustling plaza. Miss Lillian, wearing her witch hat and cape, listens intently as the woman in the sleeveless dress addresses her with concern. Nearby, the young man with dark messy hair asks a man in uniform about a large quantity they have spotted. The man in uniform confirms it's indeed a substantial amount, while another young man walks past a wagon driven by a seated man holding the reins. Laurent Gil pulls back a curtain with a bright smile, calling out to Miss Lillian. She responds warmly, apologizing for keeping him waiting. With a flourish, Laurent reveals what lies behind the curtain, sharing the moment with her. Our story continues as Laurent Gil and his companions arrive at a mysterious location under a starry sky. The woman with long light hair confidently announces the presence of magic trees. Capturing the group's attention, excitement and anticipation fill the air as they prepare to explore this enchanting place. The young man with dark messy hair and a scarf confidently announces the arrival of new weapons, extending his arm with enthusiasm. His smile reflects the excitement and hope these new tools bring to their cause. The setting suggests they are in a storage area, ready to equip their allies for the challenges ahead. The woman with the witch hat and long light hair playfully calls out to Mr. Laurent, her hand near her mouth as she smiles warmly. Her teasing tone breaks the tension, hinting at a moment of lightheartedness amidst their preparations. The woman with the witch hat and cape warmly thanks the young man with the ponytail for his timely help. Expressing her desire to repay the favor, he responds modestly, asking her not to mention it. Their calm exchange takes place under a cloudy sky, hinting at a moment of mutual respect and gratitude. Laurent Gil stands confidently before a wall lined with weapons, expressing heartfelt gratitude to the Guardians. With a determined smile, he speaks of building the best future together, inspiring hope and unity. His resolve shines clearly as he motivates those around him. The woman in the witch hat raises her staff with fierce determination, declaring their resolve to launch a counterattack and reach the top. Her confident words echo in the bright daylight, signaling a pivotal moment of hope and strength. The young man with the ponytail declares their resolve to defeat Golden Hawk, his determination clear. The woman in the witch hat solemnly states that from now on, a battle must be won. Nearby, two men walk away together, reflecting on the new beginning and the work ahead. Another woman announces to Mr. Laurent that a guest has arrived. An elf, it seems, signaling a new turn in their journey. The young man with dark messy hair, ponytail, bursts forward through a door, his face set with fierce determination. Behind him, the woman with long light hair and black gloves watches in surprise, clearly taken aback by his sudden resolve. He silently vows to save the one he couldn't protect before, charging ahead with unwavering purpose. The woman with long light hair, Mrs. Sills, apologizes sincerely for the sudden visit, her expression filled with concern. The young man standing near the door addresses her politely, calling out Mrs. Sills. As he initiates the conversation, the room's atmosphere is tense but respectful, framed by a large window and wooden door. The young elf woman bows deeply, apologizing sincerely for the incident that occurred the other day. The young man with dark messy hair, standing firm and serious, insists that he is the one who truly needs to apologize. She then humbly asks for a favor, setting a tense but respectful tone between them. The woman with long light hair confidently explains that she owns a workshop and wishes to place an order for weapons. The young man with dark messy hair listens attentively and asks, "What can I do for you?" With an open hand gesture, ready to assist. The woman with long light hair solemnly explains to the young man with the ponytail why she needs weapons. To protect themselves and prevent the pain of past trauma from repeating. The young man listens intently, questioning why she has come to him for this request. Nearby, the man with medium dark hair calmly acknowledges her reasons with understanding. The woman with long light hair earnestly explains to the young man with dark messy hair that their business is struggling and they desperately need to obtain weapons despite their lack of funds. She pleads with him to accept their request for gear, hoping for his understanding and support. The young man listens attentively, considering her words carefully. The young man with dark messy hair, wearing a jacket and scarf, anxiously inquires about the budget and quantity of weapons needed. Holding out a document for reference, the woman with long light hair, dressed in a blouse and long sleeves, leans on the table, pleading desperately as she explains their limited funds and begs for assistance. Their tense conversation underscores the dire situation they face in securing arms despite financial constraints. The young man with dark messy hair apologizes, explaining he cannot fulfill half of the weapon order within the given budget. The woman with long light hair sits distressed, clenching her fists and bowing her head in frustration. He urgently asks if there is anything else he can do to help, shouting, "Right?" with determination. The young man suggests hiring Kyle to produce weapons within the woman's limited budget. She apologizes sincerely, explaining she must get her husband's permission before making any decisions. Disappointed, he admits there's nothing more he can do, while she bows apologetically for the difficult situation. Laurent expresses his worry about the 7 days slipping by and asks what he should do next. Ari gently warns him that he's overworking himself and might miss important things if he stays shut in. Laurent admits he even forgot some appointments, then quickly runs out the door, promising to be right back, while Ari bids him farewell. The woman with long light hair, wearing a witch hat and cape, invites the young man with dark messy hair and a jacket to take a seat, signaling the start of an important discussion. The young man apologizes for his tardiness and inquires if she is feeling better. She responds with a serious expression, indicating she has something significant to talk about. The woman with the witch hat offers Mr. Laurent silver ore, suggesting a potential deal. Laurent's eyes widen in concern at the mention of silver ore, but he quickly raises his hand to refuse, explaining that the ore is monopolized by the Golden Hawk and not available for purchase. Mr. Laurent sits thoughtfully at the table, asking Miss Lily and if she has any good ideas regarding the silver ore. She calmly notes that he seems troubled and reminds him not to overthink things. He responds hesitantly, caught between concern and uncertainty. The woman with the witch hat gently holds the younger woman's legs, offering steady support as she speaks with warm encouragement. She reminds her that she is not alone and far stronger than she believes, urging her to overcome her fear of failure by trusting in the talents she has nurtured. The younger woman listens thoughtfully, absorbing this heartfelt reassurance. The woman in the witch hat warmly encourages the younger woman named Kyle to help someone as she herself was once helped. She reassures Kyle that the person will come around and advises her to simply express the wish. Kyle reacts with surprise, clearly caught off guard by the request. The woman with long light hair passionately asks Mr. Laurent for a favor, sharing her enthusiasm for crafting silver and mentioning an upcoming silverware fair. Mr. Laurent listens attentively, standing with his back turned in the courtyard surrounded by stone buildings. Their conversation carries a hopeful tone about the possibilities ahead. The young woman with long light hair and elf ears passionately pleads for help to become a great silversmith, her determination shining through as she stands in the open air of the city. Her earnest words reveal a deep desire to grow and succeed in her craft. Our story continues with a somber moment outside a grand building under a cloudy sky. The young man with dark messy hair, wearing a jacket, regretfully apologizes to Kyle, the hopeful elf woman with long light hair and pointed ears, who bows deeply before him and quietly asks if his answer is a refusal. The weight of disappointment hangs heavy as Kyle awaits his final decision. The young man with dark messy hair hesitates, expressing his doubts about the alchemist's past but shows understanding of her heartfelt wish. The determined young woman with long light hair passionately declares her love for alchemy and her desire to dedicate her life to it. Their earnest exchange unfolds in the courtyard, framed by the surrounding buildings. The determined young man passionately asks Kyle if she would like to create silverware for his guild, promising that he will persuade her father to support the idea. His earnest expression reveals how much this means to him. The conversation continues to build on their shared hopes for the silverware fair. The young woman with long light hair and gloves warmly invites the young man with a ponytail to join her in crafting silverware together. He responds with a promise to help her become a great silversmith. Their handshake seals a new partnership filled with hope and determination. Mr. Loron confidently presents detailed documents outlining future expenditures and funding plans. The young man with the ponytail reacts with surprise upon seeing the significant costs associated with her. Nearby, the young woman with long light hair stands quietly by the door, observing the exchange. The young man with dark messy hair, ponytail, confidently calls out Ling to encourage the determined young man with light short hair, who promises to buy new furniture and remodel the workshop. They both share a moment of mutual support, ready to start their work with renewed energy. The atmosphere is filled with hopeful determination as they prepare to welcome the new silversmith. The young woman with long light hair, full of determination, urges everyone to get on with their work, exclaiming, "Yes!" Meanwhile, the young man with short light hair stands quietly, contemplating the new workshop building before him. The scene captures a moment of resolve and readiness to begin their craft together. The young woman excitedly tells the young man about their new neighbor who has been buying many flowers. The young man responds with surprise and optimism, believing this might help cover the costs of their weaponry. Nearby, Mr. Izua invites them inside as they walk down the hallway together, ready to face what lies beyond the large wooden doors. The young man with short light hair opens the door wide, warmly inviting the group inside. Nearby, the young elf woman with long light hair conjures a flickering magical flame in her hands, captivating the attention of the curious elf man beside her. The calm young woman with long light hair stands quietly, observing the scene as they all prepare to enter this intriguing new space. Kyle apologizes to her father for not telling him she had requested a job, explaining her love for crafting silver. Her father reacts with shock and anger, demanding to know what is going on and how she could have done such a thing. The tension rises as Kyle stands her ground, determined despite his outburst. The young woman passionately declares her love for making silverware and her determination to never give up on her dream. Her father, standing nearby with a serious expression, voices his disagreement and concern. The tension between their opposing views fills the room as she stands firm in her resolve. The man with medium dark hair asks the young man with the ponytail if he built the workshop and remarks on the fresh, clear air inside. The young man confidently confirms with a yes. Meanwhile, the young woman with long light hair expresses her displeasure at the surprise visit. The kind elf man gently pats the young elf girl named Kyle on the head, warmly advising her to take good care of herself. Nearby, two other elves smile softly, sharing a quiet moment of camaraderie in the ornate room. The young man with dark messy hair watches them with a gentle smile, feeling the warmth of their bond. The young man with dark messy hair proudly introduces the young elf woman as their silversmith. Kyle, she bows gracefully, expressing confidence in her unique talents and thanking everyone in advance. With a bright smile, the man enthusiastically asks if anyone has something to report, receiving a spirited, "Yes," in response. The young man with dark messy hair proudly holds up a newly finished A-class weapon, explaining its impressive qualities but admitting it shatters after a powerful strike. The elf woman with long light hair smiles knowingly, pointing out that crafting such high-grade items requires mastering a special product design skill. Another young man with dark hair assures them he will work on improving the weapon's durability next time. Loron Gill, carrying a stack of books, shares his enthusiasm about studying product design with Diane, who listens eagerly. Diane asks about the books, and Loron explains their importance, hoping she can memorize the contents. Their collaborative learning begins with Diane suggesting they start with the red-covered book. The young woman with long light hair confidently reads and organizes her textbooks, fully immersed in her studies. The young man with dark messy hair stands nearby, encouraging her warmly to get started with learning. Their determination fills the room as they prepare to face the challenges ahead. Miss Lillian calls out to Kyle, gently urging her to take a break from her intense studying. Laurent Gill, still focused on his books, remarks that Kyle has absorbed an impressive amount of knowledge. The room is filled with quiet determination, but a moment of rest is suggested for the weary silversmith. The determined elf woman eagerly holds up a large textbook, expressing her excitement to dive into today's study. The young man with a ponytail suggests focusing on the blue book, encouraging her dedication. Together, they prepare to tackle the material with focus and determination. The young man with dark messy hair encourages the determined woman with long light hair to practice drawing an A-class bow design, promising his full support. She expresses her readiness and eagerness to begin practicing right away. Their focused conversation takes place in a study room filled with papers and books. Laurent Gill offers a stack of blueprints to the determined silversmith, asking if they are sufficient for her work. She carefully examines the designs, noting their suitability for the bow's exterior. With focused resolve, she requests references for higher-ranking designs to complete the A-class bow's blueprint. The woman with long light hair concentrates intently as she sketches on a large sheet of paper, determined to perfect her design. The young man with dark messy hair and a ponytail points at the desk with a smile, encouraging her efforts. Nearby, another young man with short light hair joins the conversation, holding a book and speaking thoughtfully, creating a lively atmosphere of collaboration and study. The woman with long light hair stretches and yawns, clearly tired as she walks down the hallway. She pauses to peek through a door, curious about the heated exchange between the young man with light hair and Laurent Gill. The young man angrily questions Laurent Gill, who stands facing him with a serious expression. The woman with long light hair angrily confronts the young man with dark messy hair, frustrated that producing 50 A-rank bows for 1,000,000 GS is impossible. The young man, looking concerned and apologetic, admits fault and apologizes sincerely. Tension fills the room as the weight of the broken promise sinks in. The woman with long light hair, clearly distressed, blames herself for the difficult situation, saying it's all her fault for wanting to be a silversmith. The young man with dark messy hair, wearing a jacket and scarf, apologizes sincerely, acknowledging that she must have overheard his conversation with Ling. Tension fills the hallway as they confront the weight of their challenges. The young man firmly insists that the price was his idea and stands by the promise. Convinced she can deliver the work, the woman, sitting with concern, questions why he made such a commitment in the first place. Their tense exchange fills the dimly lit room with uncertainty and determination. Laurent Gill solemnly declares his oath as an appraiser, expressing his deep commitment to helping talented individuals reach their full potential. Meanwhile, the woman with long light hair, her expression heavy with regret, admits that she has broken a promise, standing quietly nearby. The young man with light hair listens as the weight of their conversation fills the room. The young man with the dark messy hair and ponytail opens the door and encourages the woman with long light hair to follow her heart and enjoy her alchemy work. As he turns to leave, he bids her good night with a determined and sincere expression. The woman remains calm and peaceful, reflecting on his words. The woman with long light hair wipes her face with gloved hands, steeling her resolve. The young man with short light hair bows apologetically, expressing regret for the previous day. She returns the gesture with a polite bow and a warm good morning, signaling a fresh start between them. The woman with long light hair, wearing gloves and a determined expression, earnestly apologizes to Mr. Ling for the trouble her alchemy ambitions have caused. She promises to give her best effort and asks for more time to prove her worth in the workshop. Her resolve shines through as she commits to improving and contributing. The woman with long light hair, determined and resolute, pledges to repay everyone's kindness and give her all as a member of the spirit arsenal. The young man with dark messy hair listens attentively, facing her with serious focus. Together, they stand united in their shared commitment to overcome the challenges ahead. The woman with long light hair, seated at the desk, speaks with fierce determination, promising Laurent Gill that he should wait for her. She vows to become an S-rank alchemist of the spirit arsenal, showing her resolve to repay everyone's support and prove her worth. Her serious expression underscores the weight of her commitment. Our story continues as the woman with long light hair, sitting at her cluttered desk, clenches her hands tightly in determination. Surrounded by crumpled papers, she steels herself and declares, "I must do better." Her resolve to improve shines through despite the challenges she faces. The woman with long light hair, her expression serious, urges Mr. Laurent to intervene before Kyle pushes herself too hard. Mr. Laurent, determined and concerned, promises to fully support Kyle and asks others to take care of her as well. The atmosphere is tense with shared worry for Kyle's well-being. Mr. Laurent enters the room with a confident smile, praising Kyle for her excellent work. Surprised but determined, Kyle responds and hesitantly asks for a moment to explain her unfinished design. Mr. Laurent reassures her, encouraging her to share it despite its incompleteness. The group of craftsmen explains that the design is flawless but too complex for anyone in the workshop to create, as it demands a highly skilled artisan. The determined woman with long light hair and elf ears declares her plan to simplify the base of the product. Another craftsman adds that if the design only required B-rank skills, they could handle it themselves. Laurent Gil enters the room confidently and hands Lucius Neek a detailed materials list for a bow. Lucius listens intently, noting the rising mineral prices and the constraints this puts on their budget. The two discuss the challenges ahead with serious concern. Mr. Laurent proposes to pause the management work temporarily, confident he can secure the necessary ores within 5 days. The man with medium dark hair listens calmly but questions whether such a step is truly necessary. Undeterred, Mr. Laurent stands firm on his plan, determined to make it happen. The young man with dark messy hair assures that he will take care of the management work during this period before heading out through the door. The man with medium dark hair clenches his fist enthusiastically, determined to do something for Kyle, and shouts, "Let's do this!" He then runs forward with renewed motivation. In the bustling workshop, the young man with dark messy hair confidently points as he addresses his companion. Asserting his plan, nearby, the focused elf woman diligently writes or sketches at her desk, her determination clear. Meanwhile, a man with light hair works steadily, breaking rock with a pickaxe, while another woman inspects the glowing furnace, preparing materials for their task. The woman with long light hair proudly presents the finished design on a sheet of paper. The young man with dark messy hair praises her excellent work and urges her to take a well-deserved rest. Nearby, a young man with light hair looks on curiously as the two exchange words. The woman with long light hair shows concern for Mr. Ling, noticing how worn out he looks from his hard work. Mr. Ling, despite his tired appearance, explains that his exhaustion comes from the mining job he took on. Their exchange reveals the toll the labor is taking on him, highlighting his dedication. The young man with light hair encourages the elf woman to do her best while warning her not to overwork herself. Grateful and motivated by his support, she expresses her strong desire to become a valued member of the team. Their conversation takes place in a bright hallway, filled with a sense of hopeful determination. The woman with long light hair gently reminds the young man with dark messy hair that he must be exhausted from mining and other tasks. She offers to take over the work from here, encouraging him to rest. In response, he hands her a bag, trusting her to handle things while he steps back. Meanwhile, a small girl waves goodbye in the background, adding a quiet farewell to the scene. The woman with long light hair focuses intently as she hammers glowing metal in the forge, her determination clear. She carefully opens the furnace door to adjust the heated piece. Working tirelessly, sweat beads on her forehead, and she wipes it away, revealing her growing fatigue from the demanding labor. The man with medium dark hair, cloaked and smiling, expresses surprise at the success of receiving 50 A-rank bows. The woman with long light hair credits this achievement to Kyle's dedicated efforts. Standing nearby, the young man with dark messy hair listens as the praise is shared, while another woman in a kimono-style dress observes quietly. The young man with the ponytail asks the man with the cloak if he wants to inspect the goods. The man confidently replies that there's no need, confirming the bows are indeed A-rank and expressing his gratitude for their help. The elf man with earrings warmly thanks Laurent for recognizing and nurturing his daughter's talent. Laurent listens with surprise and gratitude as another man eagerly mentions his excitement to show the newly crafted bows to everyone. The moment is filled with appreciation and anticipation, signaling the completion of an important task. The man with medium dark hair, cloak, earnestly asks the young man with dark messy hair and a ponytail to take good care of his daughter in the future. The young man responds firmly and with determination, assuring him, "Yes, of course." The elf woman, Kyle, excitedly waves to Laurent, urging him to follow her. Laurent, attentive, asks her to wait for a moment as she gestures toward a display of silverware inside the building. Their exchange hints at something important awaiting just beyond the window. The woman with long light hair asks Laurent if he knows who crafted the finely made platter. Laurent confidently reveals that Dorwin, his greatest rival, is the artisan behind it. The woman with long light hair asks to be left alone for a moment, quietly wondering if the creator of the mysterious object might become her rival. Meanwhile, the young man with dark messy hair watches her leave, conflicted about whether he should have told her something sooner but ultimately believing she needed to know. As she walks away, he waves to her, their serious conversation lingering in the air. The young man with dark messy hair contemplates the impressive skill and youth of the elf woman, wondering if he might be pushing her too hard. Gathering his resolve, he addresses her cautiously, saying, "Kyle, well." The elf woman listens intently, leaning forward with a determined expression. The young man with dark messy hair looks surprised as he questions, "Kyle?" Meanwhile, the excited woman with long light hair and elf ears enthusiastically calls out, "Mr. Laurent," while praising the exquisite silver platter. Their lively exchange highlights the admiration for the craftsmanship on display. The woman with long light hair beams with excitement, praising the exquisite design and the remarkable talent of the young girl behind it. The young man with dark messy hair listens calmly, reflecting that she is strong and thrives on challenges. So there's no need to worry about her future. Their conversation reveals admiration and confidence in the girl's promising abilities. The woman with long light hair eagerly expresses her ambition to create great works and asks when her pieces can be displayed. The young man with dark messy hair apologizes, explaining that no one in town will buy silverware from their workshop. She smiles understandingly, accepting the difficult reality. The woman with long light hair reassures the young man with dark messy hair, telling him it's all right and sharing her joy in crafting silverware. She invites him to come see more of her works. Confident and cheerful, the young man, though hesitant, responds with patience, saying he's good at wading through temporary situations. Mr. Laurent apologizes to Kyle, looking tired and remorseful, but she reassures him with a warm smile, telling him not to worry. They agree to take a break together, walking toward a bench nearby. Once seated, Mr. Laurent admits how exhausting everything has been, while Kyle attentively asks what's troubling him. The young man with dark messy hair confesses to the woman with long light hair that he was once part of a guild but was dismissed. The man with medium dark hair standing behind him explains that their new guild, Spirit Arsenal, aims to defeat the Golden Hawk. The trio shares a serious moment on a bench outdoors, surrounded by trees. The young man with dark messy hair warns the determined woman with long light hair about the consequences of quitting the guild. Mentioning the Golden Hawk's monopoly, undeterred, she firmly insists she will wait and continue working in the Spirit Arsenal because her passion lies in crafting silverware. Their conversation takes place outside a large, windowed building, emphasizing the weight of her decision. The woman with long light hair and elf ears expresses heartfelt gratitude for the support she has received, acknowledging the effort put into persuading her father and preparing lessons. She earnestly shares her desire to continue pursuing what she loves, her smile reflecting hope and determination. The scene unfolds in an outdoor courtyard before a grand building, emphasizing the significance of her words. The young man admits his inexperience but vows to give his best effort. The woman, confident and cheerful, promises to craft silverware worthy of their hard work and to become the finest alchemist in town, determined to bring happiness through her creations. Our story continues as the woman with long light hair eagerly asks the young man with dark messy hair to tell her more about everything. She cheerfully suggests they go explore the rest together, her excitement clear in her inviting gesture. The young man responds with a surprised yet interested expression, ready to share more with her. The woman with long light hair joyfully announces their return, welcoming everyone back with enthusiasm. She eagerly asks her companion about the market research, expressing how much she enjoyed and learned from the experience. The young man with dark messy hair stands calmly beside her, sharing the moment of reunion. The woman with long light hair beams with excitement as she eagerly tells Mr. Laurent how much she looks forward to learning and putting her knowledge to the test. Calm and composed, Mr. Laurent acknowledges her enthusiasm and suggests calling Ling to join their discussion. Their shared determination fills the room with a hopeful energy for what lies ahead. The young man with dark messy hair apologizes for the sudden call, as he discusses the future goals of Spirit Arsenal with the young man in the dark vest. The woman with long light hair listens quietly. Standing nearby, the atmosphere is serious as they consider the challenges ahead. The young man with dark messy hair expresses his strong desire to participate in the upcoming silver craftsmanship competition. The woman with long light hair, her back turned, informs him that the event is organized by Count Elson. Meanwhile, the man with short light hair questions whether the competition will actually yield profits despite the good publicity it brings. The young man with dark messy hair explains that Golden Hawk doesn't realize they can smelt earthcraft, making A-grade silver impossible for them to produce. He adds that if they manage to achieve this, their worries will be over. The woman with long light hair responds confidently that with such an advantage, they will win and secure a major contract. The young man with dark messy hair passionately declares they have a silversmith whose talent rivals that of an S rank. The young man with short light hair expresses concern over the financial strain of refining such a large quantity. Together, they call upon others to lend their strength in order to overcome the Golden Hawk's monopoly. The man with medium dark hair and cloak carefully calculates the budget. Admitting it looks tight but manageable, the young man with dark messy hair, wearing a jacket and scarf, expresses his gratitude, while the woman with long light hair and cape insists it's too soon to thank them. Together, they cautiously plan their next steps with hopeful determination. The young man confidently declares, "The Golden Hawk," as the man in the cloak responds with a smile. "The thanks will come after we defeat." The woman with long light hair cheerfully agrees. Right. Together, they prepare to bring in their ace, determined to face the challenge ahead. The woman with long light hair eagerly asks the young man with dark messy hair if she can join the competition. He listens attentively, surprised, and explains that the contest will pit them against the formidable Golden Hawk. The scene takes place outside a building under bright daylight, capturing their hopeful and determined expressions. The woman with long light hair and elf ears speaks with firm confidence, acknowledging the risks ahead, but firmly believing that with spirit arsenal strength, victory is within reach. Her determination shines as she commits herself fully to the challenge. The woman with long light hair, determined and confident, urges Mr. Laurent to secure a definite victory. Mr. Laurent, smiling with confidence despite the tight schedule and limited funds, reassures her that they will win no matter what. Nearby, others listen attentively, preparing for the challenge ahead. The young man with dark messy hair asks the woman with long light hair if they should quickly decide what to make. She responds thoughtfully, urging a swift decision due to limited time, and suggests a promising idea for their product. Their conversation takes place inside a workshop, with the building visible outside through the window. The man with medium dark hair praises Jill for her impressive exploits in dungeon conquest, contrasting her dedication with the slackers around. Jill, standing confidently in her armor-like outfit, responds modestly, brushing off the compliments as if it's nothing. Their exchange highlights Jill's growing reputation and unwavering humility. The man with medium dark hair, cloaked and serious, firmly hands over a document to the surprised woman with long light hair. He explains that this task is a job worthy of her skills, entrusting her with a role in the upcoming silver craftsmanship competition. The woman listens intently, absorbing the weight of the responsibility just given. The man with medium dark hair emphasizes that the competition draws participants from both inside and outside the city, making it an ideal opportunity to promote the guild. The woman with long light hair questions whether an alchemist covered in dust and smoke fits the event's image and doubts the suitability of such work for craftsmen. She also expresses concern that something might be amiss, while acknowledging the hard work of others involved. The woman with long light hair challenges the man with medium dark hair, questioning if those who put in effort are truly neglected. He responds firmly that only results matter, dismissing effort as an excuse for failure, and insists that rewards belong to those who deliver valuable outcomes. The tension between their views on merit and recognition fills the room. The woman with long light hair firmly demands the immediate return of appraiser Laurent to the guild. The man with medium dark hair, wearing a cloak, responds with curiosity, questioning why she insists so strongly on Laurent's return. Tension rises as their conversation unfolds in the quiet interior room. The woman with long light hair passionately insists she cannot give her full effort without the young man by her side. He counters, claiming her achievements are due to her own talent, but quickly loses his temper and shouts at her to stop, despite his frustration. She calmly denies his claim and tries to explain her point further. Jill passionately pleads with Lucius Neek to reconsider the guild's decision and allow the recently expelled member to return. Insisting that he has accomplished much, Lucius remains firm and dismissive, explaining that the expulsion was due to a lack of achievement, and abruptly ends the conversation. Jill clenches her fist in frustration, determined but met with cold refusal. The woman with long light hair insists once more that they should reconsider the reward, emphasizing its importance. Meanwhile, the man with medium dark hair pinches the bridge of his nose, expressing his doubts about Jill's reliability and the current plan for the main force. Outside, the imposing guild building stands solemnly, underscoring the weight of their decisions. The woman with long light hair focuses intently as she casts water magic, creating shimmering rings above a surface. Nearby, the young man with short light hair holds a paper and gestures, seemingly explaining or reacting to her spell. Their exchange hints at a collaborative effort, blending magic and strategy within the guild's workshop. The woman with long light hair concentrates as she casts water magic, creating shimmering rings above the surface. Beside her, the young man with dark messy hair speaks earnestly, engaging her in conversation. Their focused exchange hints at a crucial moment in their collaboration. The woman with long light hair apologizes seriously, explaining that the ornate goblet cracked when infused with magic, marking it a failed attempt. The young man with dark messy hair holds the cracked goblet, looking surprised and questioning if this is the finished product. Around them, broken goblets litter the floor, highlighting the wasted materials in their effort. The young man with dark messy hair grimly explains that they are running out of materials and time, insisting they must settle for using a regular silver artifact. The woman with long light hair and elf ears pleads with him to try just one more time despite the dire circumstances and tight schedule. Their tension reflects the pressure to complete their task against overwhelming odds. The woman with long light hair passionately declares her confidence that once they finish their current task, they will overcome any challenge. She insists that with the support of the spirit arsenal, she will become the best. The young man with dark messy hair listens attentively, absorbing her determination. The woman with long light hair and elf ears encourages everyone to give their best until the very end. The young man with dark messy hair asks if they can secure one more set, while the young man with short light hair confidently assures them to leave it to him. Together, they vow to work hard and finish the last task as a team. The young man with light hair acknowledges the hard work everyone is putting in, emphasizing their collective effort. The woman with long light hair, holding a box, agrees, noting that each person is truly trying their best. The determined young man with dark messy hair adds that they are simply giving it their all, reinforcing the group's shared commitment. The woman with long light hair closes her eyes in serene concentration as she casts a blessing over a decorated pot, magical flames flickering around it. She prays earnestly, asking the spirits to bless the wonderful people involved. Her expression shifts to a gentle, confident smile, filled with hope and determination. The woman with long light hair proudly presents the ornate silver goblet, the completed spirit arsenal, nearby. The young man with short light hair looks surprised, while the woman with medium hair admires the exquisite craftsmanship. Their expressions reflect awe and satisfaction at the beautiful artifact crafted by Kyle-chan. Our story continues on the day of the Silverware fair, bustling with crowds and vibrant fireworks lighting the sky. The young man with dark messy hair stands focused and serious, gazing ahead, while the elf woman beside him clutches a wooden box tightly, her expression a mix of surprise and nervousness. Together, they take in the lively scene unfolding around them. At the lively festival, the woman with long light hair nervously holds a wooden box, confessing to the young man with dark messy hair that she feels out of her league displaying her work. The young man, calm and thoughtful, calls her Kyle, offering reassurance amidst the bustling crowd and fireworks. The young man with the dark messy hair confidently reassures the nervous woman holding a wooden box. Nearby, a serious man with crossed arms watches the scene unfold. The atmosphere is tense but hopeful as they prepare for the upcoming challenge. Mr. Laurent stands confidently, reassuring Kyle that her skills are on par with those of seasoned silverware smiths. Kyle listens with hopeful admiration, calling him respectfully Mr. Laurent, as they share a moment of mutual trust amidst the festive surroundings. The young man with dark messy hair offers encouraging words to the determined elf woman holding a wooden box, praising her hard work and dedication. Nearby, a serious young man and a woman with a headband watch attentively, while a group of supportive men smile warmly in the background. The atmosphere is hopeful as they stand beneath a sky lit with fireworks, united in their shared effort. The young man with dark messy hair reassures the serious elf woman holding the wooden box, praising her hard work and the quality of her craftsmanship. His confident words aim to bolster her spirits amid the festive backdrop. The elf woman listens intently, focused yet comforted by his encouragement. The young man with dark messy hair confidently encourages the elf woman holding the wooden box to proudly present the Spirit Arsenal Guild's craftsmanship. She smiles hopefully, clutching the box tightly as the festive fireworks light up the sky behind them. The moment captures their shared pride and determination. The young man with dark messy hair shouts encouragement, urging Kyle to confidently present her work as a future S-rank silversmith. His determined expression matches the festive atmosphere outside, where fireworks light up the sky beyond the open gates. The young elf woman holds a wooden box firmly as she speaks with determination, her voice carrying over the night sky. Behind her, two men stand side by side, their backs turned, quietly watching the vibrant fireworks burst above them. The scene captures a moment of hope and resolve amid the celebration. The competition registration begins as the young man with short light hair cheerfully announces the start and instructs everyone to line up. At the registration desk, a man asks a participant with dark hair tied back to provide the entry and creator's name. Nearby, a young woman with very long light hair waits patiently, while the participant presents a wooden box as their competition entry. The young man with short light hair gazes in awe at the glowing trophy, clearly impressed by its brilliance. Meanwhile, Kyle Cotton, the proud creator of the Guild's Spirit Arsenal, stands confidently nearby holding a wooden box. The young man with dark messy hair approaches the trophy with a determined stride, ready to face the challenge ahead. The young man confirms that the registration is complete as he walks alongside the confident young woman. A serious young man nearby instructs everyone to wait until the scheduled time. Suddenly, the young woman urgently calls out, "Wait!" to stop the pair as they begin to walk away. Jill calls out to Mr. Laurent with tears in her eyes, and he turns to her, surprised and confused, asking why she is here. Overcome with emotion, Jill embraces him tightly, their reunion charged with heartfelt intensity. The scene unfolds outdoors under a lamp post, framed by trees in daylight. The young elf woman raises her hands apologetically, explaining she got emotional after a long time. While the young man with dark messy hair looks surprised and pained, he confronts her, saying he heard she was avoiding him. In the background, the man with medium dark hair and cloak stands with his back turned, as the young man reflects on whether Lucius has been spreading lies to get rid of him. The young woman with long light hair asks the young man with dark messy hair if he is all right and whether he hates being greeted by a student. He smiles warmly and assures her that he is happy to see her and does not hate it at all. She looks surprised, questioning if he might have grown to dislike such greetings before. The young man with dark messy hair seriously asks the young woman with long light hair why she left the guild. She responds with a concerned expression, wondering if she had done something wrong or if she was hated. Their tense conversation unfolds under the soft daylight, framed by street lamps and trees. Laurent Gill holds the hand of the young woman with long light hair, who bows her head, pleading with him to come back. His expression is serious and filled with emotion as he listens intently. Meanwhile, another young man with dark messy hair watches from behind, curious and asking what Laurent Gill is doing. Laurent Gill greets Lucius Neek, addressing him as appraiser, while Lucius, surprised, calls out Lucius. Urgently, Laurent advises not to waste time and urges everyone to prepare quickly. The young woman with long light hair questions why the guildmaster is present, prompting Laurent to reply that he should be asking her the same. The young man with dark messy hair reminds the young woman with long light hair of her important role in presenting the silverware to the bride. He firmly urges her not to linger here any longer and to prepare herself. Reaching out to her shoulder, he encourages her gently. "Come on now." Laurent Gill angrily confronts Lucius Neek, demanding to know what he told Jill. Lucius raises his hands dismissively, denying the accusations as nonsense. Meanwhile, Jill calmly questions Lucius about the meaning of his actions as guild master. Laurent Gill calls out to Lucius Neek with a troubled expression. Trying to reach him, Lucius responds mockingly, reminding Laurent of his banishment for incompetence and belittling his efforts. He tells Laurent to stop blaming others and find better things to do, deepening the tension between them. Laurent Gill stands firm, pointing decisively as he declares his choice to fight Lucius Neek. Lucius, arms crossed and wearing a serious, slightly displeased expression, listens intently, prepared for the confrontation ahead. The tension between them is palpable in the quiet outdoor setting. Laurent Gill stands firm under the cloudy sky, shouting his challenge to Lucius Neek with unwavering determination. He declares that his spirit arsenal will surpass the Golden Hawk and vows not to back down from this fight. Lucius listens calmly, facing him as the tension between them escalates in the quiet park. Laurent Gill stands firm, shouting that he has comrades and things worth protecting. Refusing to back down, Lucius Neek calmly retorts, calling Laurent an appraiser with big talk, dismissing his defiance. Laurent warns Lucius that things will no longer go his way, signaling a fierce confrontation ahead. Laurent Gill solemnly apologizes to Jill, confessing that he wanted to tell her something important. Jill looks shocked and confused, struggling to believe what she's hearing. Nearby, the man with medium dark hair, cloak, stands with a serious expression as Laurent reveals that this man is their enemy. The young woman with long light hair tearfully pleads with the dark-haired man, begging him to say it's a joke. The man, identified as Lucius, solemnly declares that he and Golden Hawk have parted ways for good and begins to walk away. Meanwhile, the cloaked man questions the woman if there is anything else left to say, watching the scene unfold. Laurent Gill stands firm, declaring confidently that they will win the competition and warning Lucius Neek to reflect on his actions. Lucius, calm but resolute, cautions Laurent not to become arrogant, reminding him that he won't remain at the top forever. The tension between them crackles in the cool outdoor air beneath the trees and lamp posts. Lucius Neek taunts Laurent Gill, dismissing his dreams as unreachable and telling him to enjoy his defeat from below the stage. Laurent, calm and resolute, fires back that Lucius is not used to looking up and should start practicing. The tension between them crackles under the daylight, their rivalry far from over. The young man with dark messy hair confidently declares that the competition victory will be theirs, pointing ahead with determination. The woman with long light hair, wearing a cape and gloves, stands resolutely by his side. Ready to move forward, together, they prepare to face whatever challenges lie ahead, united in their resolve. The announcer energetically declares the start of the International Craftsman Competition at Count Elson's Silverware Fair, capturing the crowd's full attention. Nearby, a man with medium dark hair watches the event intently, arms crossed in contemplation. The audience eagerly awaits the unfolding contest.